Hello, welcome to this episode of Conversations 101. It's getting to be a familiar subject, but I have an up-and-coming cult film director, writer-producer here with me today. But before we introduce our guest, let's look at a couple of recent clips from some of his productions.
In a world of death and self-destruction, an even greater threat now confronts us. A robot monster coursing across the universe, destroying all in his path. Seeking out bounteous babes with babylicious boobs. It's Roboob, the farting robot monster. Will Roboob find love? Will the senseless killing come to an end? Roboob, the farting robot monster. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Today's guest is Logan Fry. Welcome, Logan.
Good to be here, Fred.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what we just saw.
Well, this was a clip from my latest film, Roboob, the Farting Robot Monster, or when I show it in the public library, it's Robob, the Flatulent Robot Monster, because you can't have boobs and farting in a public library, so you have to have two versions of any kind of film that you make. So this is, let's call it Roboob, the Farting Robot Monster. It's about a space alien out in the galaxy who's he wants to find a girlfriend and he can't find one anywhere, and he's going through the galaxy, destroying planets. He comes to Earth, destroys cities. He comes to Hinckley, Ohio. And Hinckley, Ohio. And he finds first one nice couple. They're playing strip poker, and they cover up. The girl covers up. I mean, there's some more story to this than I can tell you, but she covers up. He lifts a leg, lets a fart, and they both die.
Now, spoiler alert, don't go too far.
This happens
Tell you, we
twice,
want to all
Fred.
watch the movie later without knowing what's going to
No,
happen.
it's in the trailers. You'll see it. If you see the trailers. But he finally finds a girl who doesn't cover up. It's like love at first sight. They run at each other. They sort of embrace, and goes up, and off they go into the spaceship, happily ever after. He never destroys another planet again and never even thinks of doing so.
Now, give us some idea of, that sounds like a lot of special effects and CGI and everything. What's a budget like for a film like that? I can't believe it's being produced in Cleveland with all of that special effects and everything.
I've got special actresses, and I won't say anything more about that, but I've got special actresses, and I pay $100 because that's what I was told. No, that's what I was told I would have to pay. All the other actors, they come in for free. They want to be in a great movie that's going to be seen in Canada, maybe in England, and certainly across the U.S.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk about your pre-film background. I was reading your bio, and one of the things I noticed was that you worked in a company that produced uranium-235.
That's bomb-grade uranium.
And so when you made the 235, it went into bombs, literally?
Oh yeah, it's a Portsmouth plant down near Portsmouth, Ohio. The town is Piketon, and they enriched uranium up to bomb-grade material. It was a massive plant.
Wow.
Massive plant.
Now, aside from that, I also noticed that you were also a lawyer, and you do have a active bar rating, or how do they?
Well, so what I did is I worked for the city of Cleveland. I was in the Stokes administration really early on.
I've heard of Stokes, yes.
Yeah, he was. So it was in his first administration as a law clerk. Then I went to the Department of Justice. Then I went to Goodyear, then to Goodyear Atomic. When my mom died, I had to move back to the farm to take care of her. And that was a retirement situation for me. So opened my own law office, practiced for about 10 years. Many of my clients were elderly people. I was doing probate law, and every one of those people for about 3 years stayed so healthy. I didn't have a single estate to probate, and it ruined the business model. So
I feel so bad for you.
My wife was a weaver. I decided I'll learn to become a weaver. I became a weaver, then an artist, and then I got into the movies.
So how did all that lead you into the movies? I guess that's the question. What triggered the
Well, there
movie
used to be a
response?
paper in town. I think it's still around.
What's it
but
called?
Not quite as big as it used to be, but I shouldn't say that. Anyway, this was a big paper in town, and I'm not going to mention the name, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, because,
Oops.
oh no, I already did. Anyway,
Name dropper.
they had a casting call for Spider-Man 3, and they said, go to the Oak Room in the old Terminal Tower and audition for it. I stood in a line that must have been a half a mile long. I swear to God, you couldn't see the end of it. But what I did when I filled out my form, they said, do you have a dog or do you have a car? I said I had a car. They liked my car, so they cast my car in the movie, and they had to take me along with it.
You've been an actor, or at least background.
Yeah.
What's it like making your own film? Is it more than you expected from what you saw, making a big Hollywood film, obviously, than just a different...
As a background actor, and some people don't like the idea of being a background actor because they think it's just being furniture, you don't do anything, you just But I like being a background actor because you get to see the best directors, the best crew in the world making the best films in the world, and you learn a lot. And at the same time, I had ideas for projects I would like to make in my own film, but nobody's going to listen to me about a boob or a Bigfoot or
You don't think so?
Space aliens. So I decided I would just make my own darn films.
That's great. So, what are your latest film? Now, we've already heard about Robo-Boob. Is there anything else
It's not
coming out?
Robo-Boob, it's Roboob.
Robo-Boob.
Robot
Oh, I'm
monster.
sorry.
It's,
Yeah,
no, it's
okay.
based on the old 1953. It comes off of 1953, The
recognize it.
Robot Monster. Big film in big
Okay.
sci-fi in 1953.
Okay. And so, get back to the question that I was going to I said the wrong title there, sorry. What are some of your latest films, either coming out or most recent, around that?
Well, the next film that I want to make, I've got two in mind. One would be very short. It'll simply be about a guy he's in a situation. He has got two wives, of course. Not of course, I shouldn't say that. He has two wives, and the first wife doesn't like it. And it's a clown movie, and he ends up being murdered. I don't want to say anything more.
Okay, so that's coming up. That's sort of written already, outlined, treatment.
There's a great project in Cleveland, across the country, and across the world called the 48-Hour Film Project.
Heard of it.
If you want to learn how to make movies, join the 48. So it's the same kind of concept. You make the thing up. And I'm not speaking for every director, or every team, but you make the thing up on the fly. Your script is just some notes that this is what we're going to do.
And they give you words that have to be in it.
You've got to have a
and
word,
names
you
and-
have a prop, you've got to have the character. But it's basically you make a movie on the fly, all extemporaneous.
So have you, when you do that, do you ever think of, well, if I get the chance, I'm going to try to make this idea work with that ahead of time, so you just have somewhere to go, or?
Oh, I know where I'm going.
So, yeah, you have it.
Something like that, that's going to be completely extemporaneous, because it's going to be a 2, 3, 4, probably a 5-minute film, maybe that long. So I know I've been thinking about it in another context, so it's just a matter of application. It's a simple film. But something like The Invisible Woman that involves Russian spies, escorts, foreign banking, that one's a little bit more complicated. So that's scripted out. Roboob was scripted out. Grizzlehead was scripted out. Now I'll do a regular script treatment on it.
Now, okay, what is Grizzlehead?
Well, it has two titles. One title, the main title, is Gimme Head, The Tale of the Cahoga Valley Bigfoot.
Okay.
Now, there's some
And this
places-
one's already been produced and
Oh, that was
Com-
2016.
Done,
That
okay.
was 2 years ago. For libraries, I had to change the title to Grizzlehead, The
Oh,
Tale of
okay.
the Cahoga Valley Bigfoot.
because some
And
of your
basically-
titles seem to have a little bit of a.
Well, you know,
you know,
people
over
take
the
it the
top.
wrong way, Fred.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, everything means something else,
It's
you
a
know what I mean?
Bigfoot who takes off people's heads.
So Gimme Head is the title.
And he likes cappuccino, and the kids that follow him, you know, they're coffee drinkers. They're coffee heads,
Okay.
and they drink cappuccino. So
I
it's
see.
all about that. And people take it wrong, but even then, I had to change it to Grizzlehead.
Okay, I see. What are your favorite comedies? What are your inspiration for some of your films?
Well, one that I just finished watching, I mean, just last night, the final one, is The Blue Tick.
The Blue Tick. I'm
The
not
Blue
familiar.
Tick. It's a Amazon. I think it's made for Amazon, as a matter of fact, and it's about this. It's a superhero who's sort of an anti-superhero because they're a real klutz. The original Blue Tick was made, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, with Patrick Warburton, who is a wonderful comedic actor.
There's a household name there.
Warburton, and I've been in a movie with him, and that was
Okay.
that was a project out in Connecticut. He was both a rabbi, and one of the main characters in this film is called Made for Each Other. It was one of the first films I was ever in. It was about in Connecticut. They filmed it. It was a good film. But The Blue Tick, anyway, is all of the characters are so weird, Fred.
So you're hooked on, you like to have the weird in your films.
Yeah.
That's like a
Oh, yeah.
theme that runs throughout.
Oh, absolutely. I can't compete with Hollywood, Fred. If I didn't make silly, goofy films, I wouldn't have a chance in the world.
Well, here's to silly, goofy films. We're just about out of time. Maybe you'd like to share perhaps a website or Facebook page that, everyone watching could like or visit.
I think on Twitter, I'm Lone Buzzard Filmworks. On Facebook, you can always find Logan Fry, and I don't have it with all kinds of controls. Almost anybody can go there and look at it. I don't know if that's good or
You
bad.
haven't
but I
reached
don't.
the friend limit yet.
It doesn't. You can look at it if you're a friend or not. As a matter of fact, I don't like a whole lot of friends. Not because I don't want friends, but simply it's too tough to manage. My friends
Yes.
are people in the movie business for the most part.
That's great. So with that, if that's all you have to add, let's call it a wrap on this episode of Conversations 101. Thanks for being with us, and like us on Facebook, and we'll see you all next time.